PLL Endgame is here. We're here talking about the Season 7 premiere, Playtime. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Can you keep it swear this one you'll say? Yes. Better lock it in your pocket, taking this one to the grave. And I'll show you and I know you won't tell what I say. 'Cause two can keep a secret if one of them is dead.
Dakota's way better at it than I ever was.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's true. That's
Thank
true.
you.
I'm gonna say in 7 seasons we finally got it right tonight.
That was
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
I still chose not to sing, don't worry.
So we'll work on it. We'll get it really right by the end
Yep.
of the season. But
We have to. We only have 10 episodes
I
left.
know.
9 more now.
I know.
That's awful.
Crazy. But welcome to our Pretty Little Liars after show. I can't believe it's been since August that we.
What?
I know. How crazy is that? But we are back. It is season 7B. It is, of course, the premiere episode tonight, Playtime. So much to talk about. But before we get into all of that, let's introduce ourselves. So, Hannah?
Hey guys, I'm Hannah Prichard. Y'all can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @thehotshotdude.
What is up, guys? My name is Dakota T. Jones. You can find me on all social media at Mr. Dakota T. Jones.
And I'm Kristin Strange. You can find me everywhere at Kristin_Strange.
And you can find me at Stephanie Wenger. You can also find this show streaming live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. and on YouTube, iTunes. We love hearing from you. Rate, comment, let us know your theories. There's a lot of them this season.
Yeah.
So
Tweet us, hashtag ABTVPLL.
exactly. Use the hashtag. We comment back. All of us
We
read
do.
it, and we really appreciate it. It makes our show so much more fun to interact with all of
Definitely.
you. And we'll get the live stream going as well. So let's jump into this AD's game here. We're get this creepy message.
Oh,
It's Playtime, which of course plays into the episode title. And this may be the creepiest board game I've ever seen.
It reminded me of Saul for whatever reason.
It reminded me of
Didn't
Jumanji.
it?
yeah, Jumanji, but
When
Saw
she
too.
put it, when
Right?
she put it down and then touched it, I was like, "Oh my God, where's the forest?
Oh my
Right.
gosh.
It's like
Comes to
gonna
life.
come up around us."
I know, but I thought it was so intricate and so intense, and I was like, I want this board game, not to play the way AD wants to play.
Oh, I'm
but
sure it'll be on the market soon. Don't worry.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's too technical. That would cost a lot of money to make, let
Like
alone to buy.
a lower end.
But I
version.
feel like they
Maybe.
can do something like that with
Yeah.
an app. You know what I mean? You already got the like headbands thing.
Yeah.
So
Oh
my
like
gosh.
imagine if you had like some
We
sort
should-
of board game that went
we
with it. I
should
think
do
it'd be
that.
Ooh.
Then we don't have to work ever again.
Yeah, if only I was like technically, I don't know, not
Right.
challenged.
I can't even draw.
I know a guy. We'll just pay him like 5%. It'll be good.
I just like that the game evolved out. Like at first I actually thought it was like a diorama. I wasn't sure that it was actually a board game. Then you realize it's a game. Then there's a phone attached. Then there's the letter within it, and you're getting just like so much information from this one like thing, and that's very un-PLL of them. I feel
yeah.
like because
Yeah.
normally you just get the one message, then there's another message, and this kind of unfolded.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When they first opened it, it made me think of those old video games. Like, you know what I mean? It like came alive. Like it might as well have had the little.
Oh yeah,
like,
I kind of thought it was gonna be one of
Oh,
those too,
yeah.
where you had to like get the ball.
Pinball.
like the pinball
Yeah.
machines, those are amazing.
Couldn't
Can you
remember.
imagine like going to an arcade and there being like a Pretty Little Liars arcade game? I'd be at that machine all night.
I bet there is one.
I'm sure
somewhere.
there is somewhere.
I
Yeah.
feel like in Vegas, there's got to be like a pre-LL like slot machine.
If someone knows about this, then you need to tell me exactly where it is, and I'm gonna go find it because I love the penny slots.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, I would sit at that machine all day. And be like,
know.
all right, come on. And
Yeah, I'm
like,
always down for a Vegas trip. So
And like having like
Let us
Hannah's
know.
faces match up, or like
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
Mona's. that'd be
no.
You have
cool.
to get all the liars in order.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, that is
I
the
like
money
that we're
shot.
just now developing our own games.
Oh,
We got
absolutely.
arcade games, we got board games, apps.
Slots.
We're coming your way.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of questions though, and one of the ones that I keep seeing on Twitter is who is AD?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea from this game? Anything further that you're thinking at this point?
Yvonne. I don't know.
What? I
The
don't
one
know.
in a medically induced coma.
Yeah.
She's in a coma. Let the girl
It
be.
could still be her. She could still be the one pulling all the strings. I mean, they've always had a lot of people working for them.
Do you guys think it could be one of the liars?
No.
No?
I honestly, at this point, I know it looks too obvious, but seeing AD in a doctor uniform, it almost made me want to be like, oh, okay, Rin, because I've always wanted Rin to be AD.
Right.
But it could, like, that could not be AD. It could be, like, one of AD's little minions, you know, not the person, like, pulling the strings.
Definitely. I would love to see Rin back, though.
Oh, he's coming back.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, he's
Oh, I want him to be AD, please. I would love that.
Yeah, I mean,
That, I feel like for me, that would be a letdown because
Really?
he's been gone. Like, we haven't seen him in seasons, and all of a sudden
Maybe.
you come back and you're like, no. You have, it needs to be someone that we've, like, seen intertwined in their lives.
If it was one of the liars, oh my gosh, can you imagine?
I
I
feel
would
like it
love
would
it.
be Aria.
It would have to be. I know that she said, and there was like a press release out where Lucy said that we're going to see a lot darker side of Arya. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe because you're AD.
Yes.
That'd
I
be
love
awesome.
that.
I would love that.
And think about how, like, when they were opening the game, she showed up last. Like, that's...
Yeah.
And it seems like everything in the show somewhat always revolves around her. Like, you know, the show started when she came back, and then, like, all of this, you know, and then she's the last... I don't know.
Well, for years it's been like a fan theory that she was it.
Yeah.
And because you could argue that she's been tortured less, I guess, than some of the other girls.
Absolutely.
But I feel like at this point, I would need a real explanation of how she was, like,
Right.
dividing her time, how she was able to accomplish
And
this.
they would probably be like, you know, she's mentally ill. She should be in Radley. And that was, like, the excuse.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then, and then I was reading another fan theory today about that everyone thinks now that it could be just a dream that this all happened, and that
Oh
would be
my
the most
gosh.
frustrating ending.
And
to
they
this.
wake up like freshman year ready to go to school.
I feel like they disappointed me with the...
pass for freshmen anymore.
No.
No. I feel like they disappointed me with the A reveal. So, like, please don't disappoint with the AD reveal. Don't let it be like a
suck.
dream.
Everyone
is-
seems to think that it's super, like, fulfilling.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
excited.
The finale.
I mean, that's what I keep reading is that the executive producers and everyone is saying that this is like the season for the fans and these last 10
Although
episodes.
Ian Harding said he didn't like it at first, and he had to, like, come around to it. But I'm wondering if maybe he's saying he had to come around to it because he doesn't want people to not watch the last season.
Maybe he came around to it after they were like,
Yeah.
yo, get it
Get around
together.
to it.
Get around to it.
Or because it's him.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
You know what I
He's
mean?
like, I didn't want to be AD.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, that would be really
That would be
sad.
insane.
He was already kind of an A, though. So
He
if they're
was.
like,
Yeah.
now he's AD,
I could
that's a
see it.
letdown.
I don't know. There's
Yeah.
a few people in the chat. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching. Kayla Wynn says that she thinks it's either Melissa or Caleb. I could see that.
Yeah.
And then Anissa Sadat, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, says that she reckons it's Lucas. And that would be a good one, too, because he's always kind of been around.
Yeah.
But, like, he's always been kind of sketchy in the background. But
Well, he's somebody who like has popped up at the most random of
Yeah.
times.
And he's always been very much an outsider.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and,
You know?
and felt like an outsider.
Yeah.
Like he definitely never felt like they accepted
Right.
him in the way that he wanted.
so
or,
I
Yeah.
could see him wanting to, like, control all of them.
Right. It's like
Technically,
his,
isn't Hannah still living in
I
his
think
condo?
so. And she's produced her studio that we saw tonight is his building
Yeah.
that he gave her the space for. So
So he has to come back eventually.
I'd like to see him again. I loved him as a character.
yeah, he was great.
And I still like the Caleb thing. I used to always think it was Caleb back with the A, but I don't know about the AD stuff. But it'd be cool for it
I
to be.
mean, I just want it to be, I think, a surprise at this point. I want somebody who I haven't thought of. We've sat in this room for years.
There literally can't be someone we haven't thought of, though. We've thought of, like, every
It's true. I just want to
possibility.
be shocked at the end of
Yeah,
this. I think
agreed.
that's where I'm at. Or somebody who it's like so, like, they've been in your face the entire show, and you're like, how in the world? And then there's some explanation
right.
of it.
I just want to be fulfilled. I want to
Yes.
be like,
You're just, like,
yes.
fulfilled. I
need
wanna be
I
fulfilled.
need to be fulfilled. Like, you know how shows sometimes end and they're like, oh, make what you would of the ending. Like, make your own ending kind
I
of thing.
hate
Like, someone
that.
just drives off and they don't really tell you what happened. I'm like, no, I want to see where they are at 30. I want to see where they are. Like, I want to see
Yep.
them have children. I want to see their life. Don't just give me, like, 2 years down the road. Give me their life.
Right.
I want to know everything.
Going
so
back to
I can move past this.
you can move on yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, if you have a comment.
Oh yeah,
go for it.
someone was just saying that Paul was saying that Aria did get hurt at Lucas's apartment. Remember when her butt got lit on fire?
Yeah.
I mean,
Her
maybe
butt
he
got lit on fire. I forgot that one.
maybe he could be in control of things that are happening. I don't know.
Yeah, that is a lot of pain. You know, they
Ugh.
really stuck it to her.
Yeah.
I know.
Well,
Hot
that-
cross buns.
That is a somewhat good transition to Aria and Ezra tonight, who are going through some relationship drama.
They are.
Yes.
Yeah, they definitely. I feel like for a couple that I feel like most of the fan base is rooting for. I certainly am at this point.
I feel like, though, we just think that because we are, but a lot of people out there still are not on board with this relationship, and I don't understand it. But they're like, oh, you know, he was a teacher and she was a student. Like,
I mean,
get over it.
that's a season one.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's been a long time, guys. Get over it. Or maybe this wasn't your show. I don't know.
You all had a teacher in high school that you thought was hot, so don't pretend like you didn't. And if he would have come to you and been like, so and so, I love you, and let's make out, you would have been like, yeah.
Let's not encourage this behavior.
I'm just saying.
Let's not.
Let's
Just
not
saying,
go down that
if Ezra came to you,
You know.
you would say yes.
Yes.
I
would've
went
been
with you
all
'cause you
about
were the
that
easy
student.
yes.
Yep.
I think it's time to steer away from this.
Yes.
And get
Very
into
Don't
what
sleep
we
with your teachers.
what we think
by
of
the way.
his relationship with Nicole. It's so she's found alive, if you remember from the end of season 7A, but injured and she's in New York with her family. He was with her and then came back to Rosewood. And then leaves
again.
Aria to go back to her. What's the deal?
I don't know. I think it's very sketchy, but I get it. Okay, like he hasn't told her yet, so they're thinking, "Oh, you're still together, so why don't you come on out? You'll be there for her."
Right.
But he needs to tell her, "Look, this is what's going on. I have Aria that I'm engaged to, but that's not been a conversation yet. So everyone else
she-
back there thinks everything's cool. Come
But
on back."
she also can't have thought, oh, I've been, wherever she's been for the past how many years, and think that he hasn't moved on with his
Has it
life.
been years?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
been,
mean, like, I think
because
it's
they
been-
had a couple months forward at one point last
Oh,
season.
yeah.
So it's definitely been
Wow.
like months,
I
or
was-
a year at least.
I was gonna say a year plus.
Yeah,
If
at least a year.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you can't have thought that not to say that he's not still like thinking about you and hoping that you're okay, but you can't have thought that he just dropped everything and has been pining over you and hasn't moved on with his
Right.
life. Like, I feel like I would think that, oh yeah, eventually someone's gonna move on with their life and
Yeah.
assume you're dead. Like, you have to assume that people are thinking you're dead.
Right. Not
You
only
know?
that, can we talk about how she's gonna have to get her bones rebroken? and,
God.
like, put-
Oh.
That made me cringe.
I was like,
Yeah,
no,
that's rough.
the reaction at our table was not great.
I started,
Oh.
I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, maybe they'll put her under. That way she doesn't really feel the pain. And then I'm like, I'm thinking way too deeply
Yeah,
about
no.
how Nicole, this fictional character, can avoid
I
pain.
think ultimately, by stating that, I was trying to think of the reason why they went into those details. I was thinking maybe it's to gain sympathy for Nicole. Like,
Which I think is kind of easy to sympathize for
Yeah.
her. I mean, she's not waking up, but coming back from being abducted, about to find out that her boyfriend of a couple years is engaged to the person that he dated previously to her. I mean, that's
while writing
it's gonna be
his
rough.
love story
Oh my
to
gosh.
her.
I
Yeah.
know. Ugh.
But also, I feel like even if she, like, Aria wasn't in the picture at all, like, she's not really in a place where she needs to have a boyfriend. Like, she just came back from a horrific experience. She's gonna have to go through a lot of medical, like, stuff to get better. She should be focused on, like, herself and, like, getting better emotionally and, like, being with her family. Like, you don't need to have a boyfriend right now.
no, I
that's
just feel
true.
like
Not really a time.
yeah. I mean, and it just seems like right now that and understandably Nicole is kind of tearing apart Aria and Ezra.
Right.
No,
and-
yeah.
Well, we knew this would happen.
Yeah. We also got to welcome back Holden, which, like, honestly, I had to, like, really think back and, like, put
I know.
my PL knowledge
Yeah.
to figure out who that, like, was and remember the storyline. Hopefully other people felt that too. But I really think it's interesting that they introduced him now. He's apparently a wedding planner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a chef.
A chef.
His sister's the wedding
Okay, but
venue owner, planner.
Okay, but he was, like, taking her around
Yeah.
the wedding venue
Yeah.
and kind of, it seemed like wondering why Ezra wasn't with her.
Yeah.
Like,
He
there
was kind of, staring her down, like, what's going on? Why aren't you excited?
I
Yeah.
know. I mean, she walked around like she was all depressed, like, oh, this is just, we haven't we haven't really explored it yet. And
Like,
it's like,
picking things
okay,
up and like,
really?
nah.
I'm like, okay, but I want to know, why is he back? Like, he has to be relevant in the story somehow, otherwise he wouldn't
You know,
be back.
I don't know. I think that it might have just been a fun way for them to bring someone else in. And it's like they're showing her how she's like not invested in wedding planning while like bringing someone back.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're going to try and do that a lot, like bring people back that they've had in the
Agreed.
past, just because, you know, it's ending and it's nice to...
I think we
Be
talked
nice.
about in News and Gossip last year that this season 7 as a whole was kind of, they're trying to bring
Returns,
back
yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of the favorites and characters that have been around, and it's fun to see people grow up because like
Yeah.
he definitely grew up.
He
Like,
looks exactly the same.
I know, and I remember
I know,
really
except a little
liking
bit of
him.
stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like glad he's back. I remember liking him and kind of wanting him to get with Aria.
yeah,
No.
they had that like fake romance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like they did karate, was it? I'm trying
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Something he wasn't supposed to do for his heart.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yes.
I'm
Oh,
glad to
it's all
see he's
coming
still
back.
kicking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Good for him.
Yeah, I'm interested to see like what
He
happens
obviously
next.
ditched the karate.
I guess,
Yes.
Yeah, what happens next with them, because there was definitely a spark of
Yeah,
some
I
sort.
agree.
You think?
Of some,
I don't know. I feel like he was
something.
still
I refuse
kind
to
of
see it.
Pining for her.
yeah, like he was still kind of holding on. He's giving her a ride home.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Olivia Shields says Holden is AD. Does he even really have a sister?
Well, there you
Interesting.
go.
Okay,
That's
cool.
true. We never heard about his sister before.
Could be Spencer's at this point. I don't know.
I mean, anything is possible.
Yeah.
I am loving all the fan theories. So, as a reminder to you guys, you can always go on YouTube, iTunes, and rate, comment. We love, again, hearing from you. We obviously love it in the live chat, but if you're watching afterwards, please go on, tell us what you're thinking.
Oh, yes.
This is the final season, 9 more episodes.
You only have 9 times to tell us your theories.
Yeah,
so
so-
get on it.
9 times.
And at this point, I need help. I need people's theories because I have no clue what's going on.
I feel like it could go any direction at this
Yep.
point. They've opened the book wide. Like, yeah, it's wide open at this point.
We sound like sportscasters. This show could go any direction. It's
It
wide
is
open.
wide open.
Yeah,
It's true statement.
yeah, true. At this
Yeah.
point, true.
At this
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
anything.
But let's jump into Allison, Emily, Paige. This love triangle of sorts.
Is it really though? This seemed so petty to me. I'm so.
I mean,
old.
it's so high school, and they even know it's so high school.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, they do.
I'm like, get over it, girls.
Well, I think that Emily and Paige know that it's so high school. I think
Yes.
Allie's still kind of mentally stuck in high school. I love her, but let's get real. Paige was ready to move on. It was all good. She's sitting down for this meeting, and then of course we have to see Allie go right back into the snarky remarks. And I'm like, come on, Allie. Like, haven't we
Yeah.
learned that this is not your thing anymore?
But Paige didn't like take the high road.
She tried.
Jumped back into
Well,
it.
she tried
for a second.
and her
Not long
response,
enough.
her response was classy, kind of like, "Oh, I think people aren't gonna forget about what you went through too."
It's
kind
not
of
a
a thing.
compliment. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of rude.
But she was only retaliating because of, she was trying to
Yeah.
move on and everything was fine. But no, Allie had to kind of come in with the snarky remarks.
Well, I mean, they're all back at Rosewood High, right? So,
Yes.
I mean, if nothing brings you back to high school more than being, like, back on your campus, like, that's crazy.
And having
real.
like your resident mean girl be
Yeah,
there to...
and so it's like Emily is now the swimming coach. Paige is the athletic supervisor, which is
Something along those
like,
lines.
yeah. And I appreciated Allison being like, well, is that a made up job? Like, what happened here? Because I was thinking athletic director. Is that the same thing? I don't know. I haven't heard of an athletic supervisor at a high school before, but that's a side note.
Yeah. I've never really liked Paige though for
Yeah.
Emily, so I kind of like all of the Allie stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually think they're an in-game couple.
Really?
I do.
I don't
Yeah,
see
I
it.
could see that. Well, kind of what I see happening with them is them like raising her baby together as a
Yeah.
couple.
I feel like
Agreed.
everything is so forced with Allie and Emily. Like, it's very, like, nothing ever really happens. Like, oh, there's maybe a kiss here, and oh, maybe 10 years ago we had a kiss there. But there's not, for me at least, a lot of chemistry. But Paige has been around this entire time. We've seen them. They obviously care a lot for each other. We have, like, even Allie said, they have real memories, and that doesn't go away. We've seen so much more depth with those two characters, and now they're just trying to throw her with Allie, who's had a little bit of chemistry, but nothing's really
But
happened.
Allie's been the one that she's like yearned for ever.
Yeah.
It's like since she was, you know.
And it may
14.
actually be the only real relationship or connection or real thing in Allie's life.
Yeah.
You know?
for Allie's sake, it might be.
One of the things that I felt like I was cheering for in this episode, or just wanting for Allie so much, was like happiness. Like, this is a girl who I feel like
She was super pissed off the whole time.
Yeah, she just doesn't seem like, we've never seen her truly happy. Like, her husband, who was like a total sham, like, I just want her to find something that like makes her really joyful.
Agreed.
I'm actually kind of shocked that I don't know, I guess I get why she's not happy about the baby, but I'm actually kind of shocked that she's not like, I don't care, it was, just because I feel like she's like reaching for connections in her life. That's why she was so trying to like reach out to Charlotte. Like, she's really reaching for someone that she's related to. So you would think, like, having a baby, she would be like,
right,
oh,
but
this
it's a baby
is
from a man that she
hates.
realized she doesn't know.
But it's still her, too.
Yeah.
It's, like, still her.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like,
But I think that what's going to be interesting with the pregnancy is that Emily seems to really want to be involved, and in some ways she's pushing back on that. And so do they find a united front, or, does it cause more tension?
Well, has she decided if she's, like, having the baby, or...
I don't think she's decided yet, and I know that Emily said she was going to be there with her, whatever decision she made. But at this point, like, Emily has tried to be there for Allie. I get that Allie's going through a hard time, but so is every other girl. Everyone's upset. Everything's going bad for
Allie
everybody.
also has hormones, which makes it worse.
True.
That's true, but I don't know. I just feel like, okay, like at this point, if I were in Emily's shoes, I'd be like, look, I've been trying to help you out, and all you do is complain and are rude to my friends. Like, I'm kind of done here. And she kind of did, in a sense, was like, don't kiss me until you figure out your crap type of thing.
Which I love. I actually have to say, like, I love when these girls stand up for themselves.
Agreed.
And it doesn't happen enough.
And especially Emily with Allie, she never stands up to her.
Yeah, and so it was nice to see Emily, like, kind of stand on her own 2 feet and be like, no, you need to make a decision. Like, these kisses mean something to me. And clearly, at this point, they mean something to Emily. And she's like, you need to figure this out. Like, do I mean something to you, or is this just, like, fun for you?
Right. It's almost like a game to her, and it has been ever since the very start. I mean, that's why I'm not really for it, because when you think about all the times that she's done that to her, and then now she's even like, well, Emily was like, did you kiss me to keep me around, or did you actually mean it? She's like, I don't know yet. And it's like, well, what the heck? Like, really? Like, that's not love. Everyone's like, oh, they're in love. It's like, that's stupid. Like, that's being divisive, and I don't like it.
No, I mean, it's, again,
she's
back in,
definitely playing
it's something that high school behavior.
Yeah.
It's what you do when you're, young in relationship. These girls are in their mid-20s now, and, like, it's time to grow up.
Time to grow up.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's mid-20s behavior, too, I feel like.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong.
True.
Don't get me wrong. I love Allie as a character, but I just think, like, come on. All the other girls have grown up. You're still over here, 15 years old, talking about going to the country club with what's his name. You know what I mean? Like, let's move on from that.
Well, they say you always stay the same age as when the trauma happened to you. So, maybe she is, maturing a little bit slower than everybody else.
Maybe.
true.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know.
True. Interesting point.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Hannah and her, like, budding fashion career.
I know. I'm like, we're revisiting this storyline.
Number one, it's really rude to wake a man up by pinching him like she did with Kayla.
I thought it was cute, though. That was a little cute.
I would probably, like, if I had ever woken someone up like that, I would get, like, smacked.
I know. My
Not
instinct,
intentionally.
Right. I would have accidentally like that. Because, I mean, don't pinch me while I'm
Yeah,
sleeping.
if someone tried to pinch me and wake me up, I'd be like, I'd probably kick them because that's just naturally what I do.
Okay. Kristin.
Not just as a form of self-defense anywhere, to clear that up.
But what did we think about Mona being the person who's, like, really spearheading, encouraging Hannah to jump after, like, doing her own designs? And I was surprised that was, like, Hannah and Mona have always had, like, an interesting friendship.
Right.
But I wasn't expecting her to be, like, the main encourager of this.
Maybe she's just trying to, like, make up for whenever she, like, ran over Hannah with a car.
True, touche.
Maybe she feels
Sorry
bad.
I ran over you. Let me get you some designs.
But Mona's
know.
always been like this crazy go-getter. I feel like she always just wants a project or something to, like, spearhead. You know what I mean? It's just part of her nature.
Yeah.
And then we have the introduction of Catherine, who is, I guess, a senator's daughter from New York. And it made me kind of wonder, we'll get into her, how she plays into all of this in a second, but I wondered if Catherine knew Spencer. like from
Maybe.
like because wasn't Spencer, maybe she was DC.
She was DC.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, but I was thinking, like, government, like, I don't know. I felt like they could have some connection that, that was, like, the first...
I'm sure they still could have some connection, like, senators and their families going to D.C. I'm sure she was involved in some, you know, galas or whatever.
Yeah, but let's talk about, she seems like a social, like, kind of socialite, and...
Yeah.
She's very much like a socialite.
Yeah, and she is definitely, like, buddy with Mona.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Who knows where that relationship comes from.
I know.
But nobody actually even knows that Mona even called Catherine there at the end. I'm like, you don't know that she's on the other line.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Put
watch
her on
her dial
speaker.
her number.
Let's put it on speaker. Yeah, let's have a conference call right now.
Yes. She like called her Katie. I'm like, whatever, you're not that chummy. Or it could have been any Katie.
Yeah.
I know.
Another Kate.
Yeah.
Just around.
Bull.
Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting to see, though, Hannah, is this something that plays out over the course of the season with this fashion line, or is she, like, shut down in some way with maybe AD?
Nothing's going to work out for them with AD. I mean, come on.
I don't really, like, I'm excited for her to have a fashion line and everything. I don't really, though, want that to be a huge storyline. I just want her to, like, have it.
Right.
And then just let her be let her have a fashion line.
Right.
And, like, I want to see other drama, but I don't know.
Because you just want to be fulfilled.
I just want to be fulfilled. And that's not fulfilling for me, so change it.
But I love those sketches. They were lovely.
They were really cute.
And I loved how Mona took the pictures, like, just flipping really fast, like, click, click, click. I'm like, you're not even doing it at a proper angle.
Well, we know. Even with
They
an
were for
iPhone, they would be
Instagram. They weren't for
blurry.
Instagram.
Yeah. It was,
I
no.
feel like it is an interesting nod, though, kind of to the show, which is had so many fashion moments, and like to have a character
I
like
just want everyone's wardrobe.
I mean
That dress Hannah was wearing. Can we talk about
Yeah,
that?
it was, she looked great.
She did look great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing to be like, look at how fashionable these girls were in high school. We did this 5-year jump, and of course one of them's jumping into fashion.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it makes perfect sense from that perspective. I just worry for her, like, getting Mona involved. We never really knew the true intentions of Mona. I feel like throughout the series,
I don't feel like I know them now.
Yeah.
I'm not like, she's definitely trying to be helpful, but she might also have some ulterior motive too, like for her own benefit.
Yeah. No, I agree. And what do we think about her relationship with Caleb? Good, bad, indifferent? What's going
Hannah
on?
with Caleb?
He was there for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, like they woke up in bed together, and that was kind of all we
And
saw.
then we saw him on the table in the corner.
Yeah.
I know. I'm glad that they're back together, but I hope that he has a bad habit of always being like, I've got everything under control, Hannah. Just don't worry about anything.
That
And
was
it's
a
like,
great impression.
thank you. But I'm just like, really? Okay, like, cool. I love you guys are together, and you're being, like, protective of her because she needs to be protected at all costs. She's been abducted multiple times. But at the same time, don't just put her in the corner and, like, be like, oh, be the woman who goes and does a fashion line. She's got to figure stuff out for herself, too.
Yeah.
Like, this is a group effort.
It's a true statement.
Let's not just leave it up to the men. Like, that never works out usually in this show.
Thank you for being a feminist.
You're welcome. You know what I'm saying, though? I'm glad they're back together, though. I ship them so hard, and I've always wanted them back together. But I just hope that he realizes...
I really liked and Spencer together. I'm not gonna lie. I was like starting to really root for them.
It was interesting and kind of erotic, but...
He said...
It was
I'm
very
over it.
sexual. I liked it.
He said, like, Spaleb was super fun to, like, do for a little while, but, like, Haleb is endgame. And I'm like, oh.
I get that. But I still would like them to have, like, a conversation about the whole Spencer stuff. I don't feel like that should be dead in the water completely. At least with Hannah and Spencer's relationship.
And also, it's weird that... Like, I don't know, realistically, I'm thinking they can't, now they're all kind of back with their high school sweethearts, and I'm like, someone, this isn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
For real.
No, I mean, at least I feel like someone's going to get a happy ending in this show, and there's going to be some not so happy
I think
endings.
that someone's gonna die.
Agreed.
I think
yeah.
I could, well, I'll leave that for predictions.
Yeah, we'll jump into predictions in a bit, but we have one more major topic to discuss from the show, which of course is Spencer and the mother drama.
Oh my god.
I am sorry, but I called that like a hot minute ago. Called that. Like the minute that Mary Drake showed up in that like first season, I was like, that's Spencer's mom for sure.
Yeah.
They did the hair
I
and
do
makeup
remember
so
that.
much like her from the very beginning.
I just want to know, like, how did everyone not know? And like, What is the mom's name? I feel really bad.
Mrs. Hastings.
Mrs. Hastings. We'll go with that.
Veronica.
Veronica.
Yes.
So Veronica, like, did she just like not pretend to have a baby bump, and everyone just was like, oh, she adopted, but then wouldn't it eventually get around to Spencer? Like, she would have had to fake a pregnancy or something. I mean, obviously she didn't, because in the flashback, but like no one said, oh yeah, I remember whenever your mom adopted you. Like, of course, someone would tell her.
Well, maybe she like told people like don't say anything.
Because that always works out.
Yeah. Do you think that she lived in a different spot? I was trying
Oh,
to.
maybe they moved.
No, because she said Mrs. De Laurentiis
Oh, yeah,
came
'cause they
over
were
talking and they were
neighbors.
neighbors.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I definitely like the logical part of me had a hard time with that, but yeah.
I'm also like, why have you not left this man? I'm on Spencer's side with that. Like, her father is a little slut.
Right.
I'm disappointed in him.
Yeah, and I was like surprised when Spencer was asking Mrs. Hastings about it, or Veronica about it, that she kept responding with, well, we had built something together. Like, it wasn't what we imagined, but we had built something
What did you
together.
build?
I'm like, Melissa? That's it.
And he
This isn't Build-A-Bear Workshop,
and
like-
he broke it when he slept with all these other people.
Yeah, he has all these other children around you. I'm like so confused
Yeah, he
by
fathered
that.
this child, and then he has, man.
He's got a lot. He's
Very
just-
fertile.
Yeah, very fertile.
Yeah.
That man has.
Stay
got-
away from Mr. Hastings.
For real.
Yeah. He needs to get his little tubes tied.
Yeah. Hopefully
He
he
been?
has.
Why don't I remember where he
He was.
is?
There was an issue with the passport. Remember? I thought that was such a weird line. There was an issue with your father's passport, and Press probably trying to keep him out of the country because he's
Probably.
fathering children.
Yeah.
Maybe he's fathering children across seas. It's so funny. I run
He's
into
wanted
him.
for child support.
I run into him at least like once or twice a month.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
It's so funny, and I always talk to him because I'm from the same town that his wife is from. So we talk a lot. Sometimes, like when I'll see him, he's, hey, how are you? Oh, good. Oh.
Be like, hey, how was that passport hold up? Get
Yeah,
out pretty
right.
quick.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, and also Spencer made a pretty miraculous recovery from the shooting. Like,
Yeah.
got
She was like
cast.
taking her sling off. She was like, yeah.
yeah.
I was
Oh
like,
my
wait, was it
gosh.
fake?
Yeah.
Did you actually get
I
shot?
feel like she's in for an emotional ride though in these last. Like,
yeah.
I mean, because who is your mother is a hard, like, that's gonna be something that plays out for her for quite some time, and like figuring out
and finding out so old too, like that they
Yeah.
lied to you, and like obviously they had no intention of telling her,
I
or
guess
else they
not.
would have at this
Right.
point.
it changes everything for
Like
her.
when were they gonna tell her wedding day? Like, oh, by the way,
They
you were
would never.
adopted.
Yeah, like that's so sad. And I feel
And
like, yeah.
it makes a lot of sense since like Spencer has been in Radley too, you know, that she would have, you know, similar issues.
Yeah. And quite frankly, I did not feel like those girls were sympathetic enough for her in finding that out. They were just kind of like, you started playing the game, we talked about this. I'm like, yo, she just found out that her mother is a nut job.
Yeah, I mean,
And like her mother is not her mother. So I'm very confused how we're not sympathizing
No,
for her. That's
totally.
They're just all dealing with their own crap, and so they're like very internal. They're
Everyone
like, I
has
don't care
tunnel
about
vision right now.
anyone else. This is my problem. that I'm
yeah,
having."
she's someone we've seen struggle with anxiety over the course of the show and all of that. So it's gonna be really interesting to see
Right.
how this kind of bombshell affects her as we move forward.
And she also followed in her mother's footsteps by going to Radley. Remember when she was in Radley for a while?
Yeah.
It runs in the genes.
Yeah, that's really sad. That's a really sad place to end it. But I think we need to jump into some news and gossip.
Hey.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So I wanted to start out news and gossip with mentioning this amazing Cosmopolitan article that came out today, and it's the oral history of Pretty Little Liars. So it's the entire cast, the executive producers, talking about the casting process, you know, their wardrobe, the popularity of the show, and just like fun moments from creating the show for the past 7 seasons. So if you're a big fan of Pretty Little Liars, I definitely recommend checking it out. I'll tweet out the link after our show. But Ian Harding definitely got some attention from something he said in this article. And he talks about how he thinks Trump may have been elected due to Pretty Little Liars. He says, there are so many times of like, go to the police, don't make this more difficult than it needs to be. It's all about misinformation and a complete lack of logic. We just saturated the United States with it. I think we're secretly to blame for the current president. And I don't know if he said this jokingly.
He
or-
totally did.
Yeah,
to him.
yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, yeah. I don't want to jump into politics
crazy.
here. Like, we're not a political show, but I just thought it was so funny that he would go there in this article, especially on Cosmopolitan. Like,
You know, his administration probably reads Cosmopolitan, so that'll be on Trump's desk tomorrow morning.
Yep.
So
Yep.
look out for an angry tweet against Ian Harding.
I know. I just want to see like a Cosmopolitan issue, like on Trump reading it, like.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things that it's just like a little food for thought there, which is an interesting one if you've been watching PLL.
I love how he said that. He's very politically active, though. He heavily campaigned
for Hillary.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then we have Joseph Doherty, who is an executive producer of the show, talking to Entertainment Weekly today about going out in a blaze of glory in these final 10 episodes. A lot of the episodes, particularly these last 10, are touched by a sense on the part of the writers to make them as satisfying as we can, to have one last great flourish, one great big magic trip to take our bow, walk off stage with, and I think we pulled that off. And so that makes me super excited for the rest of this season.
Well, Kristin will be the judge of that, so we'll see, sir.
I will.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Well,
If she ends this being fulfilled, I'm gonna be happy.
Yeah. Thank you guys for your support.
watch with Kristin. And let's get into predictions.
All right.
I'll start.
Yeah, we know you're itching.
We already know.
Now, your AfterBuzz
So,
TV.
well, I told you guys one, but I have two. So, you know how we were saying that someone's gonna die, like one of the couples, because someone has to? I think Caleb will end up dying for, like, Hannah's safety.
Oh.
Okay.
I feel like that would happen. Like, he's gonna kind of, like, did you guys watch The Vampire Diaries? If you haven't, spoiler alert, it's over. But Stefan, like, dies for his girl, and then, like, Damon. I feel like it's kind of gonna be like that. Like Caleb's gonna die for, like, save Hannah and the rest of the girls, but then, like, Ezra is gonna get a happy ending, you know?
Yeah.
At least
I
maybe
think
that's
they're-
just me hoping.
I think there's supposed to be a wedding, and I mean, right now it seems that it would be Aria and Ezra,
Wow.
but I think that we could get someone else.
I do have to say
Emily and
something.
Allie.
I do have to say something, though. So I was watching, you know, they've been doing press, all four of them.
Yes.
I was watching, like, live stream with Refinery 29, which was, like, a little weird of a live stream altogether, so I only watched, like, 10 minutes of it. But they were saying how, like, the last scene that they filmed, like, everybody, usually there was, like, only, like, 40 people and, like, 100 people, like, everybody that's worked on the show was there. Like, they told Aria, oh, you have to go get in your robe, because she was wearing, and, like, Ashley Benson, like, stopped, and Lucy Hale was like, you can't say that, and she was like, no, I know, she was just, like, filming a risque scene, so she had to get in her robe so she could, like, do pictures and stuff. So I think that they were filming her wedding scene, not a risque scene. I think that they were, like, filming her in a wedding gown, and so she had to, like, put something over it, because, like, she also obviously can't be photographed in a wedding gown.
True statement.
Like,
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Or I was thinking, or she was photographed, like, I feel like maybe they're going to flash forward, because they said that there is going to be a time jump near the end. Maybe they're going to flash forward and, like, we're going to see her and Ezra with a baby or something. So, like, maybe it was, like, a risque scene of her, like, having a baby, not, like, actually having a baby, but, you know, some sort of...
Interesting. That's an interesting thought. I do hope that we get kind of where these girls are going. Like, I know we had the 5-year jump already, but I want to kind of see where their lives go. As you mentioned,
To be satisfied.
Yeah, I
Fulfilled, if you will.
like I was gonna say, I don't necessarily need a bow on this story.
I do.
But I need like resolutions. I feel like there's a lot of questions
That's
left.
a bow. Just ask for the bow.
Just
Just
ask for
We
the
want a
We
bow.
want it all.
Hey, you guys, we did get a big red bow,
got
so
a bow.
everybody calm down. Who's in this episode?
Yeah, and I'm really excited about where the show is at. I think it'll be an interesting final few episodes.
Yes.
Here.
Yeah.
Definitely. Maybe I just totally blanked out, but did you give the one prediction? Okay,
No.
I want to hear you say this.
So I think that Allison is, obviously she's pregnant, and I think she's pregnant with Emily's eggs.
That
that were
would be-
stolen.
That were stolen, because we know she had those eggs that she donated that were stolen, which we all hope that she got paid for. I remember that was like our issue. Did she get paid, though?
Yeah.
Did she get paid?
But yeah, so I think that when she was in, like, the hospital or sedated at some point, they implanted, because Allie says, we've been so careful, which I was telling them earlier, like, not to say when you're not being careful that you can't get pregnant, but, like, if Emily's so shocked because she's like, I was so careful, then you have to think, like, how realistic is it that AD implanted Emily's baby in her? But then we were talking about the father, which obviously was probably Spencer's father.
Oh my god.
So dark.
Oh man, he's just at it
Not
again.
unlikely.
He's back at it again with the impregnation.
No, I don't know who the father
Yeah,
would be.
I mean, that's one of the many questions left to answer.
Yes.
But thank you so much for watching and hanging out with us tonight. We are so excited to be back for the final season of PLL. You can find AfterBuzz at AfterBuzz TV, and you can find me at Stephanie Wenger.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Kristin_Strange.
And I did want to thank Angelia Washburn because she had the same prediction you did about the eggs.
Oh, did she?
Very interesting. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. You guys can find me everywhere at Mr. Dakota T. Jones.
And I'm Hannah Prichard. You all can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at the Hotshot Dude. And Ryan, Dakota showed me. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Yay! All right, see you guys all next week.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.